All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for taking time to be with us today. In case you don't know, I am Bernie Rydell and serve as Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator for Zone 33 and host for this Zoom. As always, please mute yourself and put your questions, all caps please, in the chat box. Also, it is my hope that we will have time at the end for some good, spirited, and fun discussion. Did you hear that, Ralph? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Now, let's meet our participants. All the way from the Rotary Club of West Jacksonville, Florida, our Rotary International Director, Marshall Butler. From the Rotary Club of Fairmont, West Virginia, Assistant Regional Membership Coordinator, Sean Sawyer. Then from the Rotary Club of McMurray, PA, ARRFC, that's Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, and future RRFC, that's Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, Al DeLucia. Handling Q&A today from the Rotary Club of the Sandhills, Southern Pines, North Carolina, ARRFC Lloyd Navarro. And working the technology from the Rotary Club of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, ARRFC Paul Walter. Okay, let's get started. And I am first up with a rainbow highlight. We will be taking a few minutes at the start of every Zoom to look at one aspect of our Foundation Monthly Rainbow Report. Today, it is about goals and the power of setting goals. Setting goals for our annual fund and our Polio Plus fund is one of the simplest, highest leverage actions every Rotary Club can do. Goals focus our energy, create shared accountability, and turn good intentions into measurable results. That will then lead to impactful projects throughout the world. So look at Zone 33 for this past year, 25-26. Out of 882 clubs, 731 have set an annual fund goal and 717 have set a polio goal. That is real progress. At this time in 24-25, those numbers were 684 for the annual fund and 639 for polio. We gained 47 more clubs with the annual fund goals and 78 more for polio goals in just 1 year. We are moving from roughly 78% and 72% coverage to 83% and 81%. And it's working. 5 districts had every single club committed to both goals. And 7 districts were within 10 clubs of 100% for the annual fund. And 5 districts were within 10 clubs of 100% for polio. So thank you to the 25-26 district governors and DRFCs that really made that happen. Just an example, we can do it. The remaining clubs without goals are not a problem. They are our next opportunity. And now we have a tool to help. The new Zone 33-34 Foundation Impact Award. It is our blueprint for success, and it starts with setting goals. When every club sets a clear, realistic goal and works it, we unlock even greater impact. More lives protected from polio, stronger foundation programs, and a culture of intentional giving. So let's finish the job. Encourage every club that has not yet set its goals to do so this month. Now, I think it's time Marshall, over to you.
Well, thank you, Bernie, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you all tonight. Thank you for letting me join you all. Appreciate all the great work that Zone 33 is doing to support our Rotary Foundation. But when we talk about the Rotary Foundation, we usually talk about what it funds: clean water, literacy, peace, disaster response, and of course, our commitment to eradicate polio. And those are important stories. But the Rotary Foundation does more than fund our service. It can also help us attract new members, engage the members we already have, and create new clubs. You guys have probably heard me describe public image membership in the Rotary Foundation as a flywheel. Public image tells the story of Rotary's impact. That story attracts people who want to make a difference. Membership turns that interest into involvement and belonging, and those members create and support meaningful service through the Rotary Foundation. And that impact gives us new stories to tell. Around and around the flywheel goes. Each part adds momentum to the others. But too often in Rotary, we treat those areas as separate departments. We have a foundation committee over there, a membership committee over here, and a public image committee off doing something. Who knows, public image people. But everyone is working hard, but often on parallel tracks. And we miss opportunities because of it. Too often we complete a great foundation project, celebrate its success among ourselves, and submit the final report, and then we just move on. We never invite anyone new to participate. We never tell that story outside of Rotary, and we never ask whether that project could lead to something bigger. Imagine that a club uses a district grant to put books into the hands of children who don't have them at home. The foundation makes that possible. But what if we invited prospective members to help distribute those books? What if we invited people who care about literacy, who have never considered joining Rotary before? That's our biggest audience, people who've never even heard of us, consider joining us. And what if we shared the stories of the children, the teachers, and the Rotarians involved to let others know about that project? And then we ask those volunteers a very simple question. Would you like to help us do more of this? That's where foundation impact becomes a membership opportunity. People rarely join an organization because they studied its structure. They join because they see people doing something that matters, and they can imagine themselves being a part of it. People want to be a part of something successful. They'll join for what they see, but they're going to stay. They're going to stay for what they feel. And the same principle applies to creating new clubs. We should not start by asking people to join Rotary and then figure out what they can do. We should always start with what people care about, and then let's help them do something meaningful. And let's build a Rotary experience around that shared purpose. Maybe it's a group of young professionals who care about literacy. Maybe it's a group of veterans that are looking for a new way to serve. Or maybe it's just a community that's responding to a local need. We see that a lot lately with our disaster response. With Rotary and our foundation behind them, a local idea can become something much larger. And that shared work can become the beginning of a new Rotary club, a Rotaract club, or a companion club. Those members are not joining Rotary and waiting for someone to give them something to do. They're joining because they already want to do something meaningful together. And the foundation helps us retain those members. Because when members participate in projects and they see where their contributions are going, and they meet the people whose lives are being changed in their community, Rotary becomes more than a weekly meeting. It becomes deeply personal. For many of you, you know that polio has always been very personal to me. My father contracted polio when he was 4 years old, and its effects have stayed with him throughout his life. But it's his story that reminds me that the work of the Rotary Foundation is not ultimately measured in dollars, grants, or reports. It's measured in the lives that we impact. And those are the stories that people remember. Those are the stories that inspire generosity. And those are the stories that make people want to become a part of Rotary. So the next time we plan a foundation project, let's ask, how can this engage our current members? Who outside of Rotary should we invite? How will we tell this story? And could this become the beginning of a new club? The foundation creates impact. Impact creates stories. Stories attract people. People create clubs. And those clubs those clubs create even more impact. And that's the flywheel. When we keep it turning, we strengthen membership, we create new clubs, and we expand Rotary's ability to change lives. When we connect our foundation, our members, and our stories, we do more than create projects. We create the momentum that moves Rotary forward. I appreciate you all for letting me join you tonight. And now I'm going to hand it off to Sean. Sean Sawyer, it's all yours.
Marshall, thank you. You basically said everything I was going to say, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic. No, just kidding.
Sorry.
I appreciate the organizers including me in the discussion, but let me start with a couple of disclaimers. First of all, there's absolutely no pressure to lead a discussion about membership when you're asked to follow one of the founders of the regional action plans on a webinar. But perhaps more importantly, when Al and Bernie asked if I would be willing to try to contribute something to this evening's offering, I, of course, was humbled, but I was a little bit surprised because I'm maybe known in certain circles to be more of a membership guy, and beyond that, a little less traditional, perhaps, in the way that I'm known to deliver certain content. So I asked Al, I said, you realize that who you just called, right, to participate in this foundation message? And he said, absolutely, you represent a different voice than those from whom we ordinarily hear. Well, I don't know that anybody on this call is going to argue with that. But I just ask that you keep that in mind as we move forward, which should help explain a little bit about how I arrived at this title, Growing Rotary Through Service, and how the Rotary Foundation strengthens membership. Get my PowerPoint started, and this is not going to be death by PowerPoint, but I do have a few slides that I want to share with everybody. First, can everybody see that? Thumbs up? Everybody got it? Great. Okay. To open with a very broad net, let me just start with what might be a slightly uncomfortable question, at least for some of you. If you weren't already a Rotarian, would you join your club today? Not because Rotary has a great logo, not because we all have great food, and certainly not because somebody told you that you should attend another committee meeting. Would you see something happening that mattered and that you wanted to be a part of? As Marshall's already pointed out, here is the point. Membership isn't fundamentally a recruitment problem. It's an experience problem. If people experience Rotary as meetings, committees, and dues, we have a very difficult membership proposition. Nobody wakes up on Tuesday morning and says, man, I hope somebody invites me to a committee meeting today. But if they experience Rotary as people coming together that solve problems that matter, we have something extraordinarily attractive. So let's look at why service is maybe one of the best membership invitations that we have in Rotary. Why do people join Rotary? Well, generally people join Rotary for one or more of three reasons, the three P's, if you will. There's purpose. I want to make a difference. There's people. I want to be around people who care about something bigger than themselves. And then third, participation. I want to actually do something. That's important because Rotary's current membership work increasingly emphasizes engaging club experiences and meaningful service opportunities. You just heard Marshall say that. In fact, when you think back to last year that ended just a few weeks ago, you might recall that Rotary specifically highlighted service opportunities, mentorship, and engaging club experience as part of the overall membership experience. Have you ever heard anyone ask, how do we get more people to come to Rotary? I'll suggest that maybe the better question is, what are we doing that people would want to come to? All right, let's try something a little more interactive. How many of you have ever invited someone to a Rotary service project who wasn't yet a member? Show of hands. Okay, great, a few of you. Now, how many of you have invited someone to a Rotary meeting? Yeah, a few more hands. All right, given those results, let me ask you this question. Which invitation is easier? Come sit for our meeting and learn about Rotary? Or, hey, we're building something Saturday morning that will help 200 kids. Do you want to come? That's the difference. So here's what I'll say. Don't invite people to join Rotary, and invite them to experience Rotary. You don't believe me? I recently visited a club that completed 81 projects in a year. Do you know what else they did during that time? They added an average of 4 new members each month throughout that whole year. Its service-focused companion club ultimately tripled within a year. So perhaps our best membership pitch may be Saturday at 9, wear old clothes. Now, let's look at that a different way while trying to make the same point. When you look at membership in a vacuum, we've heard the steps. You start with identifying the potential members using any number of those lead-oriented tools. Then you attract them most effectively with Discover Rotary or what's being called Rotary Information Hours. You ever heard of that? Sure. They join, you onboard them, and your numbers go up. Then you spend the rest of the time until eternity constantly trying to keep them by giving them opportunities they seek and avoid that attrition, those red numbers that we all are trying to stay away from. But when you follow the foundation version of that path, it's almost reverse. The club identifies the need, assesses the landscape of the community, and creates the project. Then, through assembling the necessary volunteers to complete the project, relationships are built. The people involved gain ownership of the project and the leaders emerge. And after something like that, people can't resist joining and being part of the next opportunity. Now, like I said, and has been pointed out, I'm usually known as a membership guy. So I say this respectfully to the membership community. But with certain approaches to outright growth, we sometimes ask people to buy the product and then back it up with reasons why they bought it after they join. When you approach membership through foundation and its value, we let people experience Rotary before we ask them to buy it. In fact, if we allow others to experience service in the foundation first, we shouldn't be surprised when volunteers become members. We should be surprised when they don't. Now, let's take another step. Instead of talking about membership and foundation as two separate things, let's combine them with a new term. And Marshall already mentioned it, the foundation membership flywheel. Looking further into the relationship between service and the foundation that provides the mechanism for it, we see that giving becomes more meaningful when members can see the service it enables. But remember, the foundation isn't just a fundraising mechanism, it's an engagement mechanism. When members understand that their contributions help create real projects, giving becomes connected to service. And when service becomes visible, it gives members something exciting to talk about. Now, one mistake clubs can make is talking about the foundation exclusively in terms of certain things. And you heard Bernie mention these, and Marshall did too. The annual fund, Paul Harris Fellowship, DDF, whatever the heck that is, World Fund, points matching, all those inspiring phrases. Now, those things matter. They absolutely matter. But that's not necessarily what inspires someone. Instead of saying, we need everybody to give $100 to the Rotary Foundation, why don't you try asking, what problem do you care enough about to help solve? Then you connect the answer to Rotary. And let me give our public image folks a plug. We've heard our Zone 33 RPIC, Ashley Waters, repeatedly emphasize the value in storytelling. Let me suggest that it doesn't only apply to public image. It absolutely applies to foundation and its connection to membership just as much. If someone cares about education, put it in terms of a literacy project. When you hear about fresh water, there's hand wash. There's other wash initiatives that you can put it in the terms of. When you talk about maternal health, point out that it's a health project. And instead of just saying the word peace, doesn't the term peace initiative sound more inviting? Economic opportunity can be entrepreneurship and environmental project. The point of these examples is don't sell foundation giving, sell the impact that foundation giving makes possible. Don't ask your friends and family members to just join Rotary. Ask them, what problem do you care enough about to help solve? Then you connect that answer to Rotary's areas of focus and the foundation's supported service. Being a Paul Harris Fellow is absolutely wonderful, but a story about a child whose life changed because of Rotary is why we give. Now, if you're not sure how to get started, let's begin with 3 things you can do and say to your existing members. 1, create a bring a friend to service culture. Instead of saying, bring a guest to our meeting, remember 2021, 22, each one bring one? How'd that work out? How about try bring someone who cares about this cause? The second thing is make one foundation project your club signature story. Instead of beginning with the pitch, what does Rotary do? Ask yourself, what difference is Rotary making here? That's what produces a story. And finally, the third one, celebrate the people, not just the project. Don't announce, hey, we received a $25,000 grant. Tell the story, because 18 Rotarians and 12 community volunteers work together. 400 students now have ... fill in the blank. That's the call for membership marketing without calling it membership marketing. Now let's consider what to say to those we hope to introduce to the wonderful things we do in Rotary. Stop saying, would you like to join Rotary? And start saying, would you like to help us out? Would you like to come to our next service project? And then afterwards say, what did you think? And then it's set up perfectly. Would you like to help us plan the next one? And eventually, assuming it's even still necessary, have you ever thought about becoming a Rotarian? Look, by then, the person isn't joining an organization that they barely understand. They're joining something they've already experienced. So here's your homework. If you want to challenge your club, here's how you do it in just 30 days. Pick one meaningful service project, not 10 mediocre ones. One project that people can understand. And then you connect it to the Rotary Foundation. Ask, could a foundation grant make this project bigger or better? Then you invite 5 non-Rotarians to participate, not attend, participate. And tell the story, photos, videos, social media, local media, personal conversations, any way you can think of to communicate the message that's taking place. And then you ask those people to do it again. Would you like to be part of this on a regular basis? One project, one foundation connection, 5 prospect participants in 1 month. Now, to bring all this full circle, I'll close with this. We sometimes talk about membership as if our job is to convince people to join Rotary. I think we've got it backwards. Our job is to give people an opportunity to experience Rotary. Let them see a problem, let them meet the people trying to solve it, and let them roll up their sleeves and make a difference. And then you show them what happens when their little group of volunteers becomes part of a global organization with the resources of the Rotary Foundation behind it. Because that's when Rotary becomes more than a meeting. It becomes part of a global organization. It becomes more than just membership. It becomes a way to turn good intentions into measurable impact. And when people experience that, we don't have to convince them that Rotary matters. They already know that Rotary matters. So if we want to grow Rotary, let's not start with who can we recruit. Let's start with what difference can we make. And then let's invite people to help us make it. Because service doesn't just grow Rotary. Great service makes people want to belong to Rotary. Thank you all for your attention this evening and everything you're doing to grow and support Rotary, its membership, and its foundation. Now I'm proud to pass the mic to my very good friend and classmate, ARRFC, Al DeLucia. Al, it's all yours.
Thank you, Sean. Everybody see that okay? All right. Okay. Thank you, Sean. Lots of really, really good information, lots of really good tips about how we can use the Rotary Foundation projects to help engage our members and also to increase our membership. I'd just like to take a couple of minutes to talk about some of the things that my club in particular has done in that very vein. Since January 1st of this year, my club, the Rotary Club of McMurray, and the Impact Rotary Club of McMurray, we've added 12 new members. And that's something we're really proud of. But those members didn't join because we handed them a membership brochure or we asked them to come to lunch. They joined because they saw Rotary doing something really meaningful and they wanted to be part of it. The Rotary Foundation can be a powerful membership tool, not just to attract potential new members, but also to engage existing members. Oh, hang on here. There we go. Oh, wait a minute here. I'm sorry. So these pictures are of a project that my club did just 2 weeks ago. And it was in a facility for mentally and physically challenged children called Always Be Smiling. Kristen and Dean Hubritz had a son, Brendan, and his nickname was B. And B was severely challenged, both physically and mentally. But B was always smiling. But tragically, at a very young age, Brendan passed away. And his parents, Christian and Dean, decided to create a place that other mentally and physically challenged children like B could come and enjoy some of the things that B always liked to do. A bike ride on a nearby trail, arts and crafts, playing outside, and growing plants. So they created the facility Always Be Smiling. So the first district grant project we did with Always Be Smiling was to provide adaptive bike strollers for parents to use when they would come and take the children on a bike ride on a nearby trail. We used the social media to publicize what we were doing, and we asked prospective members that liked adaptive strollers, that liked the project, to come to a fundraising event that Always Be Smiling was putting on. Well, at that fundraiser, those two adaptive strollers that we had art stickers on it, Rotary Club of McMurray and Rotary Impact Club of McMurray. And the buzz that created of those prospective members and other people who were there was just incredible. That was the show and tell moment of what our club and what the Rotary Foundation could do by providing those adaptive strollers to those parents so that they could then use them to take their child on a bicycle ride on that trail. Now, the look of joy on those children's faces when they were going on a bike ride with their parents was unbelievable. But what was really incredible was the look on the parents' faces, that their children were able to do something that other children were able to do, go on a bike ride. We had 3 potential new members come to that event, and all 3 of those members came back to our club for meetings, other projects, and eventually became Rotarians. They joined our club because of that first district grant project. The second district grant project we did was to build, you can see the greenhouse here, the Let's Grow greenhouse. We did a district grant for that greenhouse project so that the children could do hands-on planting, pruning, and caring for plants and flowers. This project that we did, this was this 2 weeks ago. This wasn't a district grant project. This was just a project that we needed to get a few people together to go and do a little maintenance. We needed to clean the greenhouse. We were getting an area ready to put a potting shed and getting rid of some trash. And as you can see down at the bottom here, you can see that they've publicized who their donors were, and McMurray Rotary Club was one of them. And you can see the members that we had turn out. And 4 of the people in that photo are members that joined our club since January 1st. And one of the people in this club is a spouse of one of our new members, and she's considering joining our club because of things like this, because of these district grant projects. So, many of our new members have told us that they've joined our club because of these projects and projects like these. They've visited other clubs, but they chose to join our club because of the involvement in the community and in part because of these projects. District grant projects funded by the Rotary Foundation were the type of community service that they were looking for. People want to participate. not simply attend meetings. The district grant project gives them an opportunity to volunteer, to organize, to raise money, to visit the project, meet the beneficiaries, and work alongside other Rotarians. Projects create relationships, and relationships create membership. When our club completed these projects with Always Be Smiling, what made these projects so valuable was that it gave us an opportunity for our members to work together around something that our community really needed. It also was an opportunity for the community to see what Rotary does and how the McMurray Rotary Club and the Impact Club of McMurray is serving the community. And it was a chance for prospective members to see firsthand what being a member of the McMurray Rotary Club or the Impact Club of McMurray really looked like. So keep in mind, a good district grant project creates multiple points of engagement. People can participate in a project. They meet Rotarians. They see the impact of the project. They discover that Rotary is so much more than weekly meetings, and they think, I want to be part of this. That's how district grant projects can help build a stronger club. I want to talk a little bit about a global grant project that we've got going on. This is a global grant project, and it has really created a lot of engagement among our members, especially the newer members. This is a rendering of a greenhouse that's going to be constructed as part of a mental health facility, because research has shown that the type of hands-on work that goes with planting and pruning and maintaining plants and flowers, along with the landscaping that's going to go with this in the area, really is beneficial for therapy, for treatment of patients with mental health issues. So we're partnering with the Rotary Club of Bucharest in Romania. What this project is underway now. The construction is going to start in about 2 weeks, and it should be done before the end of this calendar year. Now, what this global grant project has done is it's established a relationship with two countries, Rotarians in two countries, our country and Romania. And what's become of that is that we've now established a friendship exchange. There are 8 to 10 of our club members that are going to go to Romania for 8 to 10 days and do a cultural exchange, a friendship exchange with them in Romania. And we've already got a trip tentatively planned. There's going to be a number of cultural visits, club projects visits. We're going to go to UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Saxon villages, and of course, Transylvania and Dracula's Castle. We're also planning to have 8 to 10 Rotarians from Romania come to visit us in the summer of 2028. Our members are already starting to talk about things like where we should take them, what they should see, what projects we can show them, what projects that we can do in advance of them coming. It's really created a lot of engagement, and it's shown, especially our newer members, how the world of Rotary can be large, but it can also be very close to home. Many of our newer members have commented that they didn't know how international Rotary was until they learned about this global grant project. So if you want to grow your club, not just in numbers, but in engaged members, we need to do more than simply ask them to join a club. We need to give them something meaningful to join. The Rotary Foundation gives us the ability to turn ideas into projects. Projects create opportunities. Opportunities create relationships, and relationships create engagement. And engagement creates members. Thereby the flywheel, just like Marshall was talking about, and so is Sean. Thank you. I will turn it over to Lloyd if there are any questions.
So I'm Lloyd Navarro. I'm an ARRFC, and I've been tasked with this evening to look at the chat for any questions. I would tell you, reviewing the bidding, there were 2 comments and then 1 question in the chat box. First, there was a question. It was couched in sort of a question where DGN Rosenthal asked about the availability of this recording so that he can use it with his clubs. So, Bernie, would you want to make a comment on that, where they can find it, and when it might be available?
Yeah, there should, I'm looking up top there. We are definitely recording it, so that's the first step. But yes, probably tomorrow sometime, I myself will prepare it for distribution. I'll trim it, make sure everything works good, and then I'll send it to the same distribution that we send to announce all of these. So yeah, it'll probably go out tomorrow.
Great, great, super. David Rosenthal also had a comment when Sean was talking about how when you invite non-Rotarians to either events or projects or things of that nature, initiatives, that in effect, using the concept of the buy-in concept, that it's a free trial period. And yeah, very astute analogy there. The one question, it's not actually in the chat box, but I do want to at least talk to the participants for the next minute or two about this. And that is, what do you think about this newer format that we have taken on for this particular year? And last year, they were a bit longer, an hour long, and we took a myriad of topics centered around a single focus. This particular format, we got together and discussed that it should be shorter and that it should be more impactful with stories and things of that nature, and then have a focus that ties in the other elements of the triad, that being membership or public image. So if you would take a moment, any one of you, to give us a comment or two about what do you think about this new format?
You're shy. Everybody's too shy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just throw my hand up if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Joy.
All right. Well, I wasn't a part of this group last year, so I probably can't compare it all that much. But knowing folks like Sean, who I've gotten to know over the years in various capacities, one of my questions would probably be, we're doing this. Are we then participating in other matters such as membership, the membership meetings themselves? Are we going to be a part of those? Because I think it'd be great to have that energy and work being done between all three legs of the stool. Having Sean is great. Do we get the chance to go and do the same thing?
If that's not in the works, it certainly should be, Joy. And as a result, maybe the membership chair, the PI chair, and Bernie can get together and then start that cross-pollination if that discussion has not occurred.
Joy, were you volunteering?
Sure.
Shoot me an-
I would. I would.
I have my foot in more than one door. You shoot me an email and we'll see about that.
I'll say something too, because Sean spoke at Foundation Matters and he really nailed it with this whole flywheel thing, which I was a big believer of already. But I had great success when I was a club president because we were showing the world what we were doing through social media, selfies and projects, and all of us having a great time. And it was like a membership magnet. And because my club asked people to donate each quarter as part of their dues, it was all optional, but we drove up the foundation giving, and it really was wonderful. So I believe in that magic sauce. Yeah.
Thank you for the comment there, Carolyn. I do have one other thing before we quit. Oh, John, do you have something that you would like to say?
Real quick. This comes from a consumer of the presentation today. What amazes me, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but I mean it sincerely. What amazes me is when you take a problem, or not a problem, but an issue, And it's like, okay, how do we get that down into a workable form? I think what you did today was fantastic. I think it took this issue on, what are the two, how does it work, and really broke it down its component parts and something we can wrap our minds around. So I think that one of the things, I mean, it was really, I got a lot out of it. But number two is, and I think people don't realize, clearly there was a lot of work put into doing this. And that you can never thank enough because, people are devoting their time, energies, efforts, know-how to provide a presentation like this. This one was really good, was particularly good. And I just wanted to, you were asking from a standpoint, how do we like it? I really liked it. And the reason I liked it is because of the way it broke the entire issue down into parts that we could consume, if you will.
Excellent. I see Peter's got his hand up. How about you, Peter?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, I think it's great. The one comment I always had in years prior when I go to zone meetings, everything else, you'd see everyone talking membership foundation, and they're all silos. Theirs was the best thing, the most important thing. The other ones didn't matter. And the question I said, well, how do you combine them? I mean, that's not helpful to say they're separate. How do you combine them? And this is doing it greatly. I mean, it really helps to bring them together and show how they work together.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Bernie, I want to send this over to you unless there's any other questions. Did I see someone wave a hand or anything? Dave, go ahead.
I have been a part of this group for the last 3 years. Most of the time when we talk about membership, we talk about telling them about what it is to be a Rotarian. We talk about inviting them to our meetings so we can talk to them about what our club does. This is a much better idea. This is showing them. This is engaging them. This is involving them. I will take this back to my clubs here and see what we can do with it. I'm not the membership chair anymore, but in a couple of years, I'll be the district governor. And so I really like this. And Sean, you did a talk when I was DMC at one of my events. I like this talk so much better because it engages the three legs. And the example that was given is phenomenal. So thank you for doing this because I think it's going to make a difference for all of us.
He almost
Appreciate your
made that.
comments.
He almost made that sound like the last one I did stunk, didn't he? Did you hear? Did you?
No, I didn't.
Anybody else pick up on that?
It didn't stink. It was great for the time. This
I
one
appreciate it.
better.
Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Well, unless there's anyone else that wants to raise their hand, I'm going to go ahead and push this on over to Bernie. I think you got what you wanted, Bernie, with regard to any feedback, as well as some spirited discussion about this particular session. And it seems like we're on the road of success when we talk about the triad of public image, membership, and the Rotary Foundation incongruent with everything else that we're doing.
Okay, thank you, Lloyd. Yeah, just want to make sure I cover this, that our next Zone 33, the foundation monthly meeting, we're going to get back on schedule now. It's always the first Wednesday of the month, unless it's not. And that's the way it's been. But we're getting back on schedule. So Wednesday, September 2nd at 5 o'clock, and it's going to be polio. I don't have the agenda from them yet, but it'll be Nancy and John. And okay, Paul, thank you for that. You can. What I wanted to make a couple comments. This really did work. I mean, we tried, we brainstormed some stuff. Al thought this was membership. Membership month, and normally you would say, "Who cares? We're foundation. Who cares about the membership?" Normally we would say that. I know, Sean. I'm pleading. I'm putting my heart out here to you. But made the case and we said, yeah, well, that's what we want to do. We want to inject more stuff, talk more about it. So I'm glad to hear the comments. That's really great. One thing that came to mind, Sean, when you were talking, we have 3 clubs on Hilton Head Island. And I'm not going to say any more than that, except we have one club that is struggling on membership. It goes down every year, one or two. Coincidentally, they don't have a community service chair. They have a membership chair. They have a foundation DRF. They have foundation chair, but they don't have anybody that for their community service projects. And they do 2 all year, and it's the same ones they do every year. They do a Thanksgiving thing, and they do a thing at Christmas, and they don't invite anybody. And they steadily go down. So I got from this is when you look at foundation and membership, make sure the club has a good community service chair, and they have good community service projects, and they have a good grant person that does district grants and gets the money to come back. If you have those 2 positions filled in a club, I don't know. That's a really good start based on what I'm hearing here tonight.
That club that I mentioned about doing the 81 81 projects over the course of year, they had 14 members when they decided to do that. And as of Friday, they're at 41. And that's why. I mean, that's an absolutely true story.
Great. Anybody else has some comments or thoughts that they want to say on basically anything? Anything. That's an open. I'm dangerous. Is Ralph still here or is he gone? Oh, praise the Lord. I think Ralph is gone. Okay. Anybody have anything? If not, we're going to close.
Bernie, could I ask you a question?
Sure.
I just want to point out that it's wonderful to see my buddy Herman Dixon on this call, who I'm sure many of you have heard has been through a very rough time lately. And we were afraid there at one point we were going to be Herman less, and the world wouldn't be the same without Herman. And I'm just glad to see you, my friend. I'm glad you're here, buddy.
Well, thanks for those kind words, and I'm back. I'm not 100%, but I'm back, and as of last week, got the okay to drive. So I'm been out visiting clubs and was up in Manning, South Carolina today, and I'll be back up there in the morning at 7:15. So it's all going good. Thanks. I appreciate it so much.
Herman is from our district, and we're really proud of Herman and what he's gone through, and never had a doubt, never really had a doubt. So Herman, yeah, I'm right there with Sean. Good to see you back. Yep. All right. This is great. If there are no more comments, just remember first Wednesday in a month, and the next topic will be polio. And thank you, Sean. Is Marshall still on the call? He's gone, right? Marshall's gone. Where's Al? Al, thank you. And everybody else, Lloyd and Paul. There's Paul up there. He's in the corner on my screen, but he handled the tech tonight, which is great because I try to do both, and that never did work. It never did work. So I'm better if I don't touch technology.
Hey, Bernie, thank you, sir.
Who said that?
Thank you. Me. I did. Carolyn.
Oh, Carolyn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
You're someone. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, all right, let's wrap it up, and we'll see you hopefully the first Wednesday of whatever month that is next September. We'll see you the first Wednesday of September. Thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate it.